Welcome back. Since this week is Halloween, we are doing a Halloween special because many of you will be eating a lot of candy this week. We all know that sugar is bad, but we still eat it anyways. Today you're going to learn about a process called glycation, which is caused from eating sugar. Please enjoy. It's the week of Halloween, which means our candy buckets are full. Who doesn't grab a few pieces of candy every day? And the next thing you know, you have to buy another bag for the trick-or-treaters. I used to love this time of year. For some weird reason, I had a thing for candy corn. And I would stand there and eat it by the handful, which looking back, that just sounds so gross. What does eating Halloween candy have to do with today's episode? We all know sugar is bad and that we shouldn't eat candy or sweets. And trust me, I get it. I used to be the girl that would justify eating sweets every day because I exercise, and so I could have a piece or two, right? I actually had a candy stash that I would hide from my kids. Sugar does more damage than we realize. First, it's more addicting than cocaine. Secondly, sugar causes a process in our body called glycation. Glycation means the sugars bind to proteins in the body and break them down. This creates something called advanced glycation end products, also known as AGEs. When I say sugar, it's not just from candy. Sugar also comes in the form of fruit, and yes, even carbs are converted into sugar in the body. The problem is most of us don't eat enough protein. And if you're eating a high carb or high sugar diet, you're depleting your body of essential amino acids. Amino acids are the building blocks of our cells. So eating protein is crucial for the health of our body and our cells. Why is glycation so bad? Glycation speeds up aging and causes serious health disease, such as diabetes, Alzheimer's, and cardiovascular disease. Before you freak out completely, I also want to assure you that glycation is a natural part of the aging process. However, if you're eating sugary or processed foods, you're speeding up the glycation process. And you can actually see glycation in your skin. Other than acne, one of the most common skin conditions we see is premature wrinkles. And here's how glycation shows up in the skin. If you're in your 20s or early 30s and see fine lines. If you're older and you see crepey or cross-hatched wrinkle patterns. Your skin has a yellowish or dull-looking tone to it. Your pores become enlarged, and your skin begins to take on a rough textured look. Think of orange peel skin. In the body, glycation affects our tissues and organs. It leads to oxidative stress and inflammation. Until you actually hear it and understand what sugar does, you don't realize how addicted to sugar you really are. The worst part is sugar is hidden in a lot of our food. You need to start reading labels. Let's shift gears and talk about prevention. The goal is to prevent future damage. Eliminate foods that cause glycation, such as processed or prepackaged foods, carbs, and sugar. This will reduce your chance of illness or accelerated aging. Increase your protein intake. Adopt a diet such as keto, Mediterranean, or carnivore. These diets focus on eating high protein and fat. Last week, I talked about how eating red meat and mixing it with carbs and sugar is bad. This is why experts will say that red meat is bad for our health. I'm going to share some information I found about red meat on PubMed. The link to that study is in the show notes. And if you haven't figured it out yet, I love to geek out over reading studies. Red meat is a complete protein. It contains all the essential and non-essential amino acids our body needs. Amino acids are the building blocks of our cells. Here are some other benefits of eating red meat. High in vitamin B12. High in iron, which is especially important for women. High in copper, zinc, and selenium. And last but not least, eating red meat supports a healthy gut microbiome. I can safely say that my gut started feeling better about a month after switching to the carnivore diet. I have a YouTube channel where I post skin, wellness, and podcast videos. The reason I'm bringing this up is because everyone always tells me I look young for my age. I dropped a link in the show notes if you want to check out my YouTube page and see for yourself. I'm 46 and have no wrinkles. I don't do injections and never plan to. I have been on the carnivore diet since December 2023, and I feel like this year is when I really noticed improvement with my skin. When I took control of my health in 2018, the diet part was easy. Getting rid of the sugar and the sugar cravings, that was extremely difficult for me. I can honestly say it took me a full year before the sugar cravings finally went away. As far back as I can remember, I have always had a strong sweet tooth. I used to love going to holidays and family parties because I always knew there was going to be tons of desserts. And growing up, going to both my grandma's houses was like a field day because they always had tons of sweets. And I couldn't wait to get there and eat some of those sweets and drink their pop, which is something I never had at home. I'm bringing this up because I've had my fair share of glycation and damage to my body over the years. So you would think I wouldn't look as young. But this brings me to my next point. Can you reverse glycation? If you Google that question, it says no. But I disagree. I'm seeing it in my own skin. When I turned 46, I was starting to notice fine lines popping up on my forehead. So I started doing daily gua sha and weekly microcurrent treatments in hopes that I was going to soften those lines. This has been a really stressful year. And I'm embarrassed to actually admit that it has been at least 6 months since I've done gua sha or microcurrent on myself. But yet, I don't see any new wrinkles. All I've really done is my simple, hydrating, anti-aging skincare routine and stuck to my carnivore diet. I believe you can reverse glycation and aging by changing your lifestyle and improving the way you eat. It might seem like a lot to make all of these changes at once, but be kind to yourself and start slowly. Like I mentioned earlier, we all know we shouldn't eat that Halloween candy. But how committed are you to really stop eating that candy? I can't tell you how many times I yo-yoed with the way I ate over the years and struggled with the sugar addiction. It wasn't because I didn't know any better. It was because I wasn't ready to fully commit. When I finally started eating keto in 2018, I was sick and tired of feeling bloated, exhausted, and dealing with acne. So when I made the switch, I was ready. And you will only be successful with getting rid of sugar when you're ready to. I'd like to end today's episode with one small step you can start taking today. Start by increasing your protein intake and think twice before eating that piece of Halloween candy. Doing these steps will help minimize the effects of glycation. Be kind to yourself. Just the fact that you're aware and you're conscious of your decisions means you're on the path to healing. We are all on this journey together, and I am here to help support you. Sometimes it's a quick mindset shift, and other times it means starting and stopping before you fully commit. The good news is there's no wrong or right way. You just have to do what feels right for you. Thank you for listening. Today we talked about glycation, what glycation is, how to prevent and reverse it. Please head over to our social media page and share one thing you learned about yourself today. Be sure to tune in next Tuesday for episode 6. We are digging into women's hormones. And always remember, you deserve to love the skin you're in.